everyone. Welcome to the Serbian Corner new episode, a show where a couple of Serbians talk about the Nuggets, DNVR YouTube channel, DNVR Nuggets podcast feed. My name is Voja, as always, coming to you from Lincoln, Nebraska, and with me is Miroslav from Pančevo. What's up, brother?
Hello, everybody. It's a wonderful, windy day in Serbia, but I enjoyed a lot of time today with my kids outside, so it was all well.
Yeah, it's windy. I'm assuming in Colorado, windy mountains and cold mountains, so we're all freezing. So, what this show is basically, we'll do a weekly recap of Nuggets basketball, quick takeaways, main themes, disagreements, everything else. It's been a pretty good week, 3-1. We had a big block last night. That was like ecstatic, and Clay's back. He beat the Lakers. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everyone too. May all your prop bets go and win. What do you think? Do you watch NFL at all?
I've tried to, like last year, I've tried to give my support to Broncos, and man, I don't know. It was like 25 minutes of airtime and like 2 minutes of gameplay, and I was like, I can spend my time smarter than that. So sorry, Broncos fans. Maybe next year.
Yeah, Broncos were not the best team to hook you into the NFL last couple of seasons. It should be a fun day here in America. So we'll see. Bengals, and there's the owner of the Nuggets, LA Rams. So it'll be fun. Also, we'll be happy Valentine's Day to everyone, especially the single people who won't have to spend so much money in the next couple of days on presents and flowers and stuff. So let's start off.
Thank you for reminding me of that, because I should be getting something to my wife. Jesus.
Oh, man. Yeah, you just play her the podcast. Like, that would be the good. Like, here, I got you this hour-long Nuggets content. That can work. We'll start with the Rakia shots. Serbian national alcoholic drink, so I usually take it before dinner or a meal, like a toast. So it'll be something quick, headline, something really that made an impression on us this week. And I'll start us off with, obviously, Jokic block last night.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he missed 2 free throws, then he just recovered like a freaking defensive player of the year, and blocked Coach Anunoby, who's also big and tall, and got away with a little push off on Jeff Green, by the way. So it's a little bit both karma for that and free throws. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, it's his third this year, fourth, I think, maybe in the last year, actually, like 2 seasons. I mean, calendar year, or like 12 months, because he had Zion probably in the second half of the year last year. And I mean, it's amazing. Like, the fact that we're talking about him now as like a defensive asset this year. I mean, it's amazing. And that's, I think, what'll get him on top of the MVP race eventually, is the fact that he has these flashy. It's kind of an unfair thing, like, because you had Rudy Gobert always has his like great defensive stats because he's in position and everything, but then Jokic has these like 3 Game 7 blocks that kind of go to bolster his offensive like juggernaut performances. So it's really cool. What do you think about the block? Did you expect the game to go that way at all?
Well, I didn't watch it live, so I already knew about the block before I saw it, and I was concentrating on those last 3 minutes of game time, and some really crazy things happened, including those 2 missed free throws by Nikola Jokic, including that insane 3 by Fred VanVleet. So yeah, it was really worth the price of the admission. It was really a shockingly shocking game, and I'm glad it went our way. And thank you, Nikola, for doing that. That was the most athletic thing I've ever seen him do. It's amazing. I'm just thrilled about it.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, his comments afterwards, like, oh well, he didn't have really time to do anything else. He just had to like put it out. But I mean, he blocked him. It wasn't like it was just like he was off balance or something. Like, it was like a clear 1-on-1. He came in, just swatted that thing away. Like, basically it was almost in like OG's hands. I don't think he like released it. And then obviously he got out of bounds for us. It was a great game. It would have been a shitty way to lose on that layup, especially after you said like the rainbow shot. It gave me like Derek Fisher flashbacks from those Laker eras when he would hit that clutch like rainbow threes that, I mean, he just hit the bottom of the net. It was unbelievable. and that got it down to 1 after basically it looked like Nuggets were like getting away with it. And then that, I mean, it's hard to like explain. And then it was also funny because last time like Embiid had a 50-point game and Jokic had like a 49 triple double. Then Embiid had finally a triple double yesterday with 40 points, and Jokic has a game-saving block. So like I feel like I'm always, as I said before here, like I'm against like pitting them against each other in that way. Who's better? Like they're both good. It's just funny to like for the fans that are always like so psychotically like linked to their success, just being like you can in Embiid threads you can come in and dunk and be like, hey, Jokic made a game-winning 3, and just like put water on their fire, and especially with like 4 in his career triple doubles when Jokic had like 7 in January, or 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I want to congratulate Michael Malone for sticking with Bones Hyland at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
Because that was a tricky one. It really was.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would probably give Bones the first half of fourth quarter and give Facu the last half of the fourth quarter. And this is why. Just before that, Will Barton somber shuffle made that miraculous shot, that complete play was completely broken because Bones was so focused on not turning the ball over, and it was +1 for the Nuggets at that point. That possession didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
he was afraid to throw it to Jokic, so the ball went to the left side to Aaron Gordon and then to Will Barton. And just because Will made this miraculous shot, Nuggets actually won the game. It could have gone much worse, but I think that's a great experience for Bones Hyland to see that he will need to be making a bit riskier moves at the end, because you have that risk and reward balance need to be maintained. So
for now is a good, like I'd rather have not turn over as the last guy on the ball and like get a layup on the other end than if it was a broken player or a shot clock violation, at least they have to take it out of bounds and then go instead of just a pure turnover. And even worse, there's a turnover trying to get an entry pass through a double team. Like that would be even like a worse decision. So it's fine. And it was funny just Barton making that. I think I don't know if it was in that game because they had back to back. It just kind of all melded. He had the similar like parallel to the baseline, running hook that airballed. I think it might have been against Boston in like a similar situation. And now it was got the somber shuffle. Yeah, it was great. I mean, and to cap it off, with Jokic's performance, it was great, and I think it kind of goes into that like block was kind of a complete opposite how the game started. Like it started off, it looked like it was going to be a offensive juggernaut from him, and I think that was your Rakia shot, right? His first quarter dominance.
Yes, I was afraid that he will not have enough gas for this second night of back-to-back game after Boston, where he did look exhausted at times, and Nick Nurse tried to do the single coverage on him in the first quarter, and Nikola returned the favor with 18 quick points in first quarter. utter dominance against a smaller guy, a very strong guy, a very sturdy guy, but just too short to be battling with Nikola. And I was thinking about, are these kind of games good for Nuggets or not? If he spends so much energy in the first quarter and then having to, because I'm pretty sure that he was saving the energy throughout the second and third quarter. He was just running away to the 3-point or to the top of the key, and he didn't even try to engage in the paint too much. So it wasn't just.
You're talking about the Celtics or the Raptors game?
The Raptors game.
Yeah.
The Raptors game, because in the Raptors game, he in the second and the third quarter, he had only 2 shots total in second and third quarter. He wasn't engaged as a scorer, only as a passer. He did a good job passing the ball, but when there is no threat from Nikola as a scorer, Nuggets are a completely different team. And luckily they stayed in the game, and it all finished well. I was thinking about that balance of him being a scorer and him being a facilitator. And I was looking a bit at the numbers this season to try to figure out which is better. And to be honest, Nikola's effective field goal percentage of 60.5% on post-ups is quite elite. It's quite elite. It's 81st percentile in the league. And since he is the guy that has the most of those, together with Joel Embiid, you can see what this.
What does he have? Almost 9 post-ups a game like. Or something like that.
Jokic? No, actually, he had total of 172 post-ups. That's something like 4.5 post-ups per game. Those are post-ups that result in a shot by him.
Okay.
So not something else.
Yeah.
And I'm oversimplifying here because I'm only looking at the spot up numbers of the other guys. But if you say that after Nikola is posting up and doubled and he's returning the ball to a free guy, he actually has some really, really efficient guys like Zeke Nagy, who is shooting 67.4% effective field goal percentage. Then Austin Rivers, surprisingly high, 63% effective field goal percentage. Davon Reed, almost 61%. And then there are some guys that are not great, not bad, like Monte Morris, 57, Jeff Green, 56, Bones Highland, 55. The only 3 guys that have really low numbers in spot ups are Will Barton with 52, Facu with 49.5, and Aaron Gordon at 46. So basically, it really depends on who is Nikola playing with, but there are some solutions, and that's something Adam have repeated several times, how much he likes Zeke Nagy as a Jokic player, because if you have that kind of stretch 4 who can hit the shots in such high clips, that's just a win every time. So I'm still on the edge of, are these kind of quarters good for the Nuggets or bad? But basically, as we talked about in the Serbian pod just a couple of hours ago, I think Nikola really picks his spots depending on how the defenders are defending him, what's the defensive scheme of the opposition, and he just took the chance. That's also another point about the second and third quarter. Toronto was playing a lot of zone defense there, and of course Nikola was trying to pick them apart with free shooters. It's just that the percentages were not very high.
I mean, and the thing is, like what you said with 2 second and third, like you kind of have to, especially against zone, especially against like Toronto zone, they're huge, and so it's a problem to even attack when you have some arms coming out of you from everywhere. And it was kind of funny, just like my first thought was, man, if Michael Porter was here, that would have been busted in like 3 possessions. But also, like, thinking about it when you just listening to numbers and stuff, I forgot, like, Zeke didn't play either. Like, in that second, unit, he's a very determined shooter. And instead of, if he was playing instead of JaMychal Green, for example, he would have still been able to get some of those shots up and maybe even, hitting those and dissuade Toronto to, like, play the zone. So it's kind of interesting that even like we talked to, we'll talk later, and you mentioned the Facu thing with Malone. It was also that thing of like you might have had better luck with Boston if Boogie played in the second unit, and then Zeke played against Toronto, like Zeke JaMychal against Boston, and trying to fight those guys, and then against Toronto having a little more shooting, especially when when they're going to play zone because they don't trust you and they don't trust Facu as a point guard in those situations to knock down those shots and break open the zone. Like if that was the things, like you have Monte and then the Bones comes in from second unit. Bones you can just pull up from those, and as we saw later, like he was breaking those down by being like a knockdown, knocking down those shots. So that was, I mean, and as far as Jokic's like, load management on the court, like we're used to that, and I think he adapts to where the situation leads him. Like in that regard, I think he's like very similar to that earlier LeBron criticism that he would get of like, oh, he makes the smart move. Sometimes you have to be selfish, but in it's regular season, you don't have to go against a double team on a back to back like all the time. Like they're better solutions. They're all pros. Like they eventually will knock down those shots in and especially if you don't trust him and you force those shots, you're basically building up pressure for the rest of the guys to even be, for every mistake to count even more in their heads. So that just it's like an avalanche of in a bad way of how things can unravel. So yeah, so I agree. I mean, like if it's a situational. I don't really care if he scores 20 in the first quarter or two,
Yeah.
as long as the team is as long as it's within the needs of the team in that specific situation.
I agree.
Yeah. Should we go to our burek?
Yeah.
Let's go. Burek, nice juicy pastry dish. This is like our juiciest thing of the week. Something maybe best. Something like with it's a high caloric intake. Why we chose it is because Nikola Jokic used to eat it a lot when he was younger. And drinking that with Coke around the time when he was turning pro. So this segment is in that honor. And also I love it and Miroslav loves it. And it can also come with other shapes and sizes and different toppings inside. So what we'll start with, it's first with my burek, and then we'll transition into Miroslav's, which they both kind of fit. Mine is basically the confidence in this team, that I actually think they're a pretty good team, and then maybe even like on the verge of like a just sleeping giant. Even though we're having this kind of season and it's basically a little above 500 team, 55% team. I still think, like, considering the fact that you're playing your fourth point guard for one night for 30 minutes against a Boston team that's been rolling, and you're still on a one possession, it's 6 points, but like at the end it was like a one possession game. You play against Toronto, which is on a game roll, and you play with Bones and Facu, and you're still managing to win this team. It just gives me the confidence of how good Jokic is and how this actual roster, no matter the deficiencies of its role players, still fits because of how good he is. And I think, like, when everything comes into play, when Jamal gets back, you get these like spurts of the second unit being good for like a stint. Like, you don't need to be a juggernaut right away. Like, you just need to survive. And the fact that they're playing so well, like, it, because I mean, the guys talked about it in DNVR yesterday, or maybe Locked On was Adam talking about just the fact that when you lose, it just feels bigger than it is. I'm not sure why. Like, I still haven't felt this season that oh my God, we're so bad, we lost a couple in a row. Like, I've just been rolling with the punches because I still see a really good team in there, and I see that the players are not playing even to, like, the 80%. Some players are not even playing like 80% of their highest potential, and so I think that's interesting. Then you add in Boogie, and you see how different and interesting the team gets when he's around. Like, even though he's individually not producing like high efficiency numbers, for me at least, as an individual player, he's still really good because of his help to the team, how he unlocks some things, how he eliminates secondary possessions for opposing teams with his rebounding, like how he's basically a bull in a china shop, just demolishing other players and throwing in some, basically monkey wrench into other people's plans. And then you add it on top that, like, he can actually pass. He had that. It was kind of funny. Like, it was a similar pass to Jermichael Green last night, like Jokic had last year against not to that same like ratio of the court, but like he had between like three players, he slid the ball to Jermichael Green, and Jermichael Green got fouled and took had 2 free throws from it. So like his fit. Then you have like Forbes coming in as a shooter. Finally, we have someone that, like, I don't care if you miss 2 in a row. Like, the next one he comes out of a screen, like, I'm like, oh, this one probably going in, more likely than not. So that trade that people weren't happy about the trade deadline, that nothing happened. I think the prices were too high for what the pieces that we have around. If we were going to sacrifice Zeke or Bones, I still wasn't. I would have said it was a bad trade because of how much they're learning with Jokic and how well I think they're going to start fitting even more during the season. Like, they're getting more and more minutes, more and more confidence. Bones closed his first game with the starters, significant game. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. Like, I mean, I can't wait for Jamal to get back. I'm ready for a dip when he gets back, just because of conditioning. But then I think eventually, I think we might look like at some point like last year, even though Michael Porter might not be back I think with Jeff Green in that starting lineup, he might be a juggernaut again. What do you think?
I think we are like 10 games away from people starting to feel a bit more comfortable with this season. Everybody is so stressed out because everybody is afraid that this team isn't good enough because it's already been like 50 games and they're still not, high above 500 mark as we hoped it would have been in other seasons when the roster construction is normal, or the numbers of the roster are all there. So I think because the schedule is really starting to get a bit softer now, and I think we are finished with all the long road trips this season. So hopefully less travel will help the team with energy, and of course, if we get some cavalry in the back of the season like we expect to, everything should start looking better. So I think that's the reason for the stress. People are just not sure that this team with these players can be good enough to compete. And I think it's getting clearer and clearer that not only Jokic but also Aaron Gordon, also from game to game, Jeff Green as well. That what you call that, the Kerber, the three-headed monster.
Cerberus, yeah.
Cerberus, the three-headed monster.
Jeff Gordon, yeah.
Yeah. So this really works well. Of course, Jeff has some games when he's not on, and that's understandable because he's not brought there to be their third option. He's brought there to
but then
be
last night,
sixth,
then he's on
option.
when he needs to be.
Yeah, and then when he is on, that's just awesome, and he's just attacking the rim at all times. And I'm really afraid for him at some points because he's jumping over guys that are like 15 years younger than him. How is he not afraid of the way he will land? But yeah, hopefully everything will stay good like it is right now. And yeah, I do feel confident that this team will be good come playoff times for sure, even if Jamal and Michael Porter are far from their normal shape, far from their normal form, because when you have an extreme floor spacer like Porter, when you have a actual pick and roll threat in Jamal Murray, then a bunch of things will open. And hopefully, if I really hope that Boogie will stay with the team, because he offers those 12 to 15 minutes of play
of
that
chaos.
will not be that be chaos, and chaos isn't always bad. It can be bad, but it sometimes it will be good, and that's fine. That's good enough, really.
Yeah, and there's comments saying basically what you said, like what Jamal getting back at 70% is better than what we have. And I'm obviously conditioning as in like the amount of minutes that he can run and stuff is obviously we're gonna have to look at how that develops. As far as like his physical build, I'd rather have him. I was that might have been one of the silver linings that like wasn't expected with the with the shutdown for COVID, is Jamal got bigger, and like because he was never like lightning fast, like he was never Bones or like or Trae Young or something that he needs to be slim and burst onto the hoop. It was more for him. It was more getting the right positions. And I think when he's bigger, he can like Jokic is slow and he still gets his shots. So like if he can get the slow down pick and roll and just use the moments and use the specific times to burst, like what Harden used to do. Like people give a hard time to Harden what his play is. Like he knew how to use space and use angles. So if Jamal can do that and just make make defenses be honest and like not back off completely and respect what he can do, I think that's enough to open up a lot of stuff that we just don't see. That's why the Phoenix people are they're joking through the entire season. Oh, if we had Jamal Murray back, like they're thinking, oh, he wouldn't he would give you 20 points and no defense, and you think that would beat Phoenix. it's more complex than that. Obviously, in basketball, like those 20 points not just by themselves. Like they're, it might be 20 points for him, but then he opens up with 2 or 3 shots for Gordon, Barton, Jeff that are easy and easy.
Listen, man, we've seen how good Phoenix was without only Chris Paul. So
yeah, I mean, it is, yeah. Like everyone knows what I think about Phoenix, and I'm not. I mean, they're really rolling now, but I really don't care. Like, been toiling lottery for 10 years. Like, of course you should be good after 10 first round, first 10 picks, and they're giving away their 10th pick for Torrey Craig. Like, I mean, so I mean, but I'm not going to go into that. Like, I don't really care about them. Like, I really like this team, and the fact that it was a question of should they have made it more of a risk and did a trade. That's also the fact of what confidence they have in this team as well, like in these young guys, because I think the price was too high for some of the players that were available and that they were looking at. And I think, like, because you go and you say they gave Jalen Smith and a second round pick for Torrey Craig. We had Torrey Craig. I wasn't excited. If we had to get Zeke Naji in a pick for Torrey Craig, like, I'd rather not. For Derek White, they gave a first round pick, a young guy they weren't playing and that actually had some promise, and then they got a Josh Richardson for Derek White.
That's exactly the kind of package I was contemplating about.
But then but that's the thing is, like, Josh Richardson. You upgrade Josh Richardson to Derek White, but what young player do we have to afford to give them? Like, I wouldn't have wanted to give Bones away.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
they don't play Romeo Langford. That's the thing, is like, but he still has potential. Like, if Marcus Howard was in the same vein as Romeo Langford, then you give Marcus Howard and a veteran player and then a pick for Derek White, and then you upgrade and add to your player list. But this way, like, it was, I think the prices were too high. And then just for me personally, as a thing, like, I hate trades. I hate trade deadlines. Like, they're not cattle. Like, it seems so weird to me and people always, like, trade machines online and, like, trade this one. Like, you're uprooting someone's life. And, like, I like the Team Conleys more. Like, I'd rather not win a title than act callously to my players and be the Lakers and just throw away guys left and right because you see something greener somewhere else. Like, there's a consolidation trade that happened with Gordon, of course, but it was after so long and obviously with conversations and humanely. But just, like, throwing guys around like that, it just, like, I didn't even. I mean, it felt to me, it felt queasy even trading PJ Dozier, after he tore his ACL. That was kind of a icky move, but you still, as a business, you have to do it and get, like, a fresh body because it was like 5 injuries. But that's like what Utah did to Joe Ingles was like, it just sucks, like, when you see something like that. So that's what I mean. Like, I like this. I mean, just to put a bow in it, I like this team, and I hope we do something with them, and JaMychal Green starts playing better, because again, you're kind of, until the trade deadline, it's hanging over your head, like the fact that you could be traded. And JaMychal did say, "Oh, I might get my paychecks the 1st and the 15th," but like, you wouldn't want to be sent to a desolation place team instead of being in Denver and playing with Jokic and having fun, just being sent to, like, wherever. I'm not going to name teams. I don't want to diss anyone, but, like, somewhere where there's no future and you're just getting paid, but then you're not enjoying what you do. So.
Yeah, and just to explain why you said you hate the trades and you don't think that people should be treated like cattle.
Yeah.
This is because in Europe it's completely unnatural to have a trade in basketball. In basketball, you can have a guy whose contract is expired and he just moves to another team, or he can dismiss the contract during the season because things are not moving in the right direction, so he wants to leave. Then he becomes a free agent, and then some other team picks him up. There are no trades between the teams regarding the players. That's why it's a bit shocking to us. I understand why it's popular in the NBA, because it increases the drama.
Drama, and you get fresh players on your team. You have someone to look at, and remember how when Gordon came in, how interesting it was, exciting to, like, watch. But again, just as a thing, it's so weird, especially when you hear, like, the stories when they don't even know they're traded. they just get the call and you're like, oh, you're gone. Not even a call from a GM. You got a call from your agent and, oh, check Twitter. You were traded. You're going from, your family's in Utah and you're going to Portland, and you should be happy about it. Ricky Rubio with Cleveland and stuff. So it sucks the kid, but I'm saying, like, I like that they didn't spend too much right now on a player that they're going to be stuck with, that might not fit, or something that just completely doesn't work, and then you just waste like that. That kind of was like sucked that like what happened with Hardenstein and McGee. Like, you gave up a bunch of picks for with Hardenstein to get McGee, and you barely used him, and that was kind of a shit trade at this point. So I mean, that's that we can move on, and this is an interesting Boric from you, is that we're going to rank the teams in the West. Basically, that you said the middle part, right? You want to rank like the 4 to 7,
like the lower playoff contenders in the West, because we already know who the top dogs are right now. We are in a part of the season where we can pretty confidently sort teams into tiers, simply record-wise. We already know that Phoenix is heading for the number 1 spot. Golden State and Memphis are going to take second and third spot in some order. We'll see how it goes. We already know that the Lakers and the Clippers are heading to the play-in, waiting to see if the Pelicans or the Kings will join them in the 10th spot. So the Blazers, Spurs, Thunder, and Rockets have already chosen the path of tanking, although the Spurs are really bad at tanking. I mean, they gave away some guys for picks and expiring contracts, and they're still
winning.
They're still winning.
I mean, they kept DeJounte and put Vassell in that starting lineup. They opened up a lot of, like, it was great to watch. I mean, I was kind of excited to watch DeJounte Murray just go free.
Also, Josh Primo now has more space to play. I don't know. It's really good. So there are 4 teams that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's the Jazz, the Mavs, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves. And these teams will all be competing to run away from the 7th spot, because that's the spot that goes to the play-in. 4, 5, and 6 will play against each other, and one of the Warriors or the Grizzlies. And number 7 is probably going to play against the Clippers and have one more chance against the winner between the Lakers and, let's say, Kings. I still doubt New Orleans will withstand the Kings' potential run with Sabonis Jr. I really like how the Kings look right now. I'm not saying that I like how they look, in 3 years with Sabonis instead of Haliburton. I mean, I would love that team if they found a way to trade away De'Aaron Fox for
it's weird, like, so with them is like, I'm glad we can take a digression. Like, the first thing that you see them, like, oh my god, they did that, and you're like, well, Sabonis is 25. He's not like a 30-year-old on a way to, like, 33-year-old on a way to $50 million contract, like Harden or something.
Sure.
And you're still not sure. Like, he can still improve, and he can give you what he gives you. And but what that also means is giving you creation in that team, that it's not all solely depending on De'Aaron Fox, and not on the same position either. Like, one of our friends that holds the Hoopster Instagram page, like we were talking about on the pod earlier, he was basically, when you get saying you get the ball to Rashawn Holmes in the middle, your kind of offense kind of stops. Like, there's only one end goal for that. When you get it to Sabonis there, like, that ball can still move and he can find players. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's fun. Like, again, like, they kind of got lamented for it, that they're basketball hell, and obviously you're, with the cap stuff, like, you're 6 years of rookie scale contracts, blah blah blah. But if they might make a run. Who knows? Like, they might be good next year, and then we see this trade and being like, fine, that was a fine trade. Like, you're paying the max player, you have another 2 years of Sabonis on a decent enough deal that also can be traded again. It might be good. I mean, I'm not gonna bury the Kings yet, even though they, it seems, the decisions they're making, like, they should have made that before. Like, now wait to be 20 and 35 to start this. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what's your ranking? So what do you have?
So let's just take a look at who got better and who got worse after the trade deadline. So the Jazz lost Joe Ingles to injury, then traded his expiring contract, and got Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Juancho Hernangomez. Wow. Those are cost-saving and not basketball positive moves. I think they've gotten slightly worse, and I don't think Utah fans are.
Well, they got
excited.
worse by Ingles being injured by itself.
Right.
Like it's
Yes. So the Mavs traded away Kristaps Porzingis for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. I have loved Bertans from the time he played for my Partizan Belgrade, and I believe Luka can save his bad season by feeding him with a steady diet of wide open threes. Dinwiddie is good, not great player, and I believe the Mavs will be slightly worse overall, even though I don't love the matchup with the Nuggets as much as I did before. Luckily,
you don't like them? Why?
Because of the Dinwiddie, because he is good at dribble penetration. He's really good entering the key where the Nuggets are the weakest. Because when you break the first line of defense, Nuggets usually collapse.
But who is he?
Badly.
Is he playing off the bench or with Luka? Like that's what, like with them is there's a lot of questions because they're loaded up on their guard spots. Like and then they have Maxi Kleber and Powell there. They don't have Porzingis to stretch the floor anymore. Even though I don't like Porzingis anyways. But like, just it's a weird team. So it is kind of funny that two teams that are ahead of us seemingly got worse.
Sure. And then you have the Timberwolves and the Nuggets who stand at pat at the trade deadline at the final day.
Yeah.
Timberwolves are good when healthy.
Yeah,
although they haven't been healthy for the whole season. This is why they don't have a great record right now.
Yep.
And Nuggets hope to get healthier going forward. So right now, the standings look like this. Jazz have 21 losses. The Mavs have 24. The Nuggets have 25. And the Timberwolves have 27. Sorry.
Okay.
So the Jazz are in the pole position right now. Their remaining strength of schedule is middle of the pack among the four teams, according to Tankathon. Their current, I'm quoting Tankathon. So, according to Tankathon, their current strength of schedule is 0.503, which means that the average record of the opponents remaining for them is 0.503. So just a bit above 500. They still have to face Phoenix twice, Dallas three times, and that will be really important. And also Golden State, Milwaukee, and Grizzlies once. But they will have a cakewalk against the Rockets, OKC, Portland twice, all of these teams twice. Also San Antonio, but I don't know if that will be an easy one. And a sneaky good Sacramento on March 12th, when they should still be in the competition for that last playing spot. I mean, the Sacramento.
Yeah.
So the Jazz will be on the second night of the back-to-back for that game against Sacramento too. That could be really important. It will be one of the gigantic 6 sets of back-to-backs for them in this final stretch. So not a really good schedule for them.
That's for Jazz, right?
For Jazz.
On Jazz. Okay.
Yeah. So Jazz will have 11 home games and 15 road games to the end. And looking at their schedule in detail, I believe they will have 15-11 record to close out the regular season. So that will bring them to 50 wins. That's my prediction for them. Next are the Mavericks, who have the same strength of schedule like Utah, 0.503. Their 3 games against the Jazz are going to be a big factor in this race. Jazz will be on the second night of the back-to-back against the Jazz once, and Mavs won't have any. Utah will be on the second night of the back-to-back, and Mavs will not have any rest disadvantages there. Mavs will also play Golden State twice, also the Heat, Cavs, and the Bucks. So not a lot of hard games for them. Surefire wins should be against Rockets twice, also Detroit, Portland, and San Antonio. It's so nice to say, cakewalk game against Portland. That feels so nice. I just love.
I don't hate them anymore now when they're
they're just actually sad.
I like Josh Hart and Simons. I don't care. I'll watch them.
I'll watch them
now. They have the best jerseys, so I'll watch them.
So the Mavs have 10 games at home until the end of the season and 15 on the road. Those road games are clustered into 2 5-game road trips and 1 4-game road trip. So that's bad. That's really bad. They also have 5 sets of back-to-backs. Looking at their schedule in detail, I believe they will have a 12-13 record, which will bring them to 46 wins. So Jazz 50, Mavs 46.
Okay.
I will leave the Nuggets for the end, so let's dig in the Timberwolves first.
All right.
They will have the toughest strength of schedule in this group at 0.508. Half of percentage point more than Mavs and Utah. That doesn't sound like too much. It changes in one game. They will meet Chicago twice, also Golden State, Phoenix, Memphis, Miami, and Cleveland. They will be happy to learn that they will be also facing tanking San Antonio. They're not tanking. Portland and OKC twice. They will have 15 games at home, which is good, and only 11 on the road. And they will have 4 sets of back-to-backs with 1 4-game and 1 3-game road trip. Okay. Looking at their schedule, I think they will have a 14-12 record, so a winning record at the end of the season, and that will bring them to 43 wins. So we have 50, 46, and 43. Now, for the grand finale, let's see the Nuggets. Their strength of schedule is the weakest in the group at 0.49. They will have to meet Golden State 3 times. That's the weakest strength of schedule. So
is that the opponent percentage or?
Yes, combined component.
So the best, so it's better than the other ones. The weakest, as in the components they're facing, are worse than the other.
Yeah, they're worse. They're worse. Yeah. The weak schedule means they're facing a bit worse opponents. Although they will have to play Golden State 3 times.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Hopefully,
that's insane.
Hopefully, several of them without.
They don't have a center for Jokic, so we're good.
Yeah, they also will be playing against Toronto, Phoenix, Memphis, and Philadelphia. The trap games they should win are against Sacramento 3 times.
Oh my God!
Oh man, 3 times Sacramento.
When they got Sabonis.
When they got Sabonis. One of those games will be. First night of the back-to-back, so not too bad. They will
play one this week, right?
That's right.
Oh no, after the start.
Yeah, after the All-Star break. Yeah, they will meet OKC twice, so that's good. Also Orlando, that's the next game. Houston and Indiana, so pretty good. They will play 16 games at home and only 10 on the road, with 4 sets of back-to-backs. And looking at this schedule, I think they will have, drum roll, 17-9 record, which will bring them to 48 wins. So,
fifth.
My final prediction: Jazz seed number 4, Nuggets 5, Mavs 6, and Timberwolves 7. So let's get ready to rumble against Rudy Gobert.
Huh? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, it kind of also make me look good because I said 5th seed. I think the first week of our podcast.
That's right.
In Serbian, I think it's at 5. I mean, because injuries, like it makes sense, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully we get 79 is really, it's fine. Like if we get over that, like that's really great. If we get under, if it's 50, if it's 50-50, then it's that. As long as we're at that 6th spot, like I guess. And then you get into matchups, then it's like sucks if we have to play Memphis with Ja Morant, which again, who knows with him too? Like he's one of those like great, young superstars, but longevity with him during the season is also iffy because of his style. Like, and out of the worst things that can happen was the last night he tripped on a cameraman and twisted his ankle. Like it wasn't even in play. Like at least if you get hurt by going nuts and dunking on people and then landing awkwardly. at least you understand that it's how he plays. But then he finished, and then he was like backing up by with inertia, and then he just twisted his ankle. Like it was so dumb to see. Like so it's gonna be fun. I mean, you said like with Golden State, Draymond's injuries, who knows? Because they're not as big of a contender, I think, if he's not playing. Even though Clay's back, and it was fun to watch him torch the Lakers last night, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the end of the season. I just want to get there. Like I want to get there healthy. There's no more injuries, not even to like Boogie Cousins or any of the guys. Like you see some hamstring tightness from young players that they haven't played a lot. So I mean, it's a fine ranking. Like I'll be fine with that, and I'm not afraid. Then you're basically avoiding. I guess you're going to or on a Phoenix if you're 4-5.
Yeah.
Phoenix is number one. It is. I mean, it is. But you have to eventually go through the best teams. Like bring it on. Like get Jamal back. Like see what happens by that time. Like so. I'm good with that. You want to go. Yeah. You want to move forward.
I agree. Yeah, I just wanted to answer this. Muddy Water asked, "How is Philly's schedule?" To be completely honest, I don't give a fuck. I don't care because I know why he asks is because of the MVP race.
Yeah.
And I don't care really. I only concentrate on the Western Conference right now because I'm more interested in the team success right now, and we'll see when we come closer to the end of the season.
Yeah, because again, it's those two things are tied. Like if the team success is good, especially because then if the team gets 5th seed, I think like if it fights for the 4th, who knows what happens to Jazz, like that. Then the narrative of so many hurt players will come into play. Right now is like oh my god, he's so good, he's dragging that team to the 6th seed, but you can't. It's not that level of like you can't even. They're so damaged that area of that whatever five finger arguments about what winning individual stats like narratives all that stuff like it doesn't fit now since they're 6th. Like you can't justify, even though like realistically yes, like he should be the MVP based on the fact that if without him they would be the worst team in the league, probably one of the worst teams. But it is what it is. I mean, Embiid is doing his thing. Like it's fine. Like it's funny that people are pushing him. Like, and we saw the All-Star, the billboard that they made was with like there's no Giannis, Embiid, or Jokic on it. Like basically all non-Americans were excluded, which was hilarious because like they had to put a Durant as Hurd and Booker as not even an All-Star starter on there. So it was just funny. I'm fine. Like whatever. I just want to get there. I want to see because that limbo. I'm enjoying the regular season, but it's still like a lot of speculating. Like in the situation when it actually starts the playoffs, when you can game plan, when you can adjust game to game, like we did last night and Friday, from game to game. Like what happens then? Like how does the team behave when you don't have to have 25 minutes without Jokic or whatever? Not obviously not 25, but like without the starters at some point playing all together. So we'll see. Do you want to go to the Euro take foul real quick?
Yep.
So it's the worst thing of the week, like something really we don't agree with, either noises, something we don't want to see. And again, it's named after one of the worst things in basketball that kind of stops the fast breaks and all that. So I'm not going to go too long on this. I'm not going to like, vax poetically or whatever. Just Facu slander in general just annoys me. Just putting the blame on the man that showed nothing but professionalism like his entire time here, not to mention Argentina and Spain, how he played over there. As plays 100%, like he just gives it all out there, and he's not demanding to play more. He's not being, he's not pouty. He's not causing scenes. Like he's mentoring Bones off the court when he was out of rotation. So like it's kind of ironic because like a lot of fans are like, being like, oh, teams should, players should be this way, like they shouldn't. Basically, what I described, like professionals, they can't complain. They're playing for, they're getting paid a lot. They should be happy they're playing the game that they love. Don't cause any scenes. Like listen to coach, and then he does all that and it's still not enough, even though like he's out of his hands. Like the fact that he's playing 17 minutes straight, like it's not his thing. And then the fact that like it's getting to a point where like it's irrational hatred. Like he was good the last 2 games. Like he was out of rotation for a while, then he came back, did his job, like and did his job well. Like he was making shots, like he was making more shots than some other people. And so it's kind of funny. And then the one mistake he makes, then you go quickly on Twitter and go in and be like, oh, number 7, or like, oh, this guy again. It's just weird to me that this is the guy you pin the blame on when he wasn't supposed to, when he's just thrust into that position. Like he wasn't supposed to start a playoff series, yet somehow he managed to be a starting point guard on a team that ended Portland era with Damian Lillard. And so it's just annoying. Like I don't know what what's your opinion on that. And then obviously then insulting his like basketball knowledge. Like he's the one that won more than anyone on this team, including Jokic. Like he won things that none of these players have. I don't care if it's EuroLeague. Like that's still a really good competition. He won for his national team. Like he knows what it takes to be in that position to win, and what all little things that it requires for him to win. And not to mention his basketball intelligence is like probably second to Jokic. Like that's no question in this team, and maybe even like in some situations based on experience, even higher than Jokic. The fact that he is athletically deficient, so he's not one of the best players in the world. But just like his approach, his like longevity and like professionalism too is like also body maintenance. Like he's played 3 years in a row without any breaks. Like it just sucks that people still are hating on him without any like real causes. Like again, it's still on Malone's shoulders to play him or not play him. Like bitch about that, fine, but like you can't blame a guy for giving you 100% out there.
Yes, I was actually prepared a long tirade about how great of basketball player Facu Campazzo is, but I'm going to save it for some other time because I'm afraid people will be accusing me of having an idol in our team. But I really do admire him. Just one thing I want to say today is that I think that Will Barton is breathing easier in the States this year because all the hate is pointed toward Campazzo this season. Interesting to see something in Serbia, for instance. Everybody is still talking about Will Barton. Nobody is mentioning Campazzo at all because everybody in Serbia knows how Campazzo, how great of a player.
Well, also, you can't blame him for some of the stuff that he does. Like he's actually doing him well. Like he's positioning well. Like he can.
That's right.
He's taking open shots when they're giving it to him. Like he's all the basketball decisions that he makes. Like he's not trying to pass between someone's legs when the game is breaking up, right. When a game is breaking. So like he knows situational basketball as well. It just, again, it's 17 minutes on a guy that was out of the rotation and you thrust him into a situation where a shooter would have been better, a pure shooter that they respect would have been better. So it just sucks that, like, again, and then we lose that game, even though we lost to the Pelicans when he wasn't playing, and it's still Facu's fault, as soon as he got back. So it sucks.
Just one thing. Facu used to play 25 minutes per game in Real Madrid, and now we ask him to play 17 consecutive minutes in the NBA. It's just insanity.
Yeah.
Be better, Michael Malone. Sorry.
Yes. Let's finish up with it was a quick answer to a question in the post game from a Serbian reporter. I think just you go.
This. Jokic actually only had 2 questions in Serbian this week versus the Raptors last night. He was just asked how hard it is to play on second night of the back-to-back with travel, and Nikola confirmed that in fact it is hard. But there was an awesome moment in the post-game presser versus the Nets. While answering a question in English, Nikola started with a quote and then just gave up on it. But our Serbian journalist Aleksandar Žigić insisted and asked Nikola, congrats on a great game, 14 triple-double, yada, yada, yada. But you just mentioned a Serbian singer who said that you have your dreams, but when you get old enough to fulfill them, those dreams get old too. Who did you refer to? And Nikola said, Đorđe Balašević. It is not important. He was shy about it. And the actual quote from this song sounds like, your dreams become the most valuable when both of you and your dreams get old. And it is a quote from the song called "Devedesete," which means 90s. And that brings us to our Serbian fact of the week. Đorđe Balašević is Nikola's favorite singer, songwriter, and also,
at least what we know. I mean, we assume so. Like he's did he say it?
Well,
does he say that it's?
His song was the first song at Nikola's wedding.
That's
so
fair.
we can assume. I'm guessing he likes him, and if he quotes him on the post-game presser, that's a meaningful thing. So, Đorđe Balašević is our most famous, as in the words of our most famous rock and roll analyst, Peca Popović, a Serbian Bob Dylan. When you hear that comp, it is needless to say how talented he was and how great his career that lasted for 44 years was. He was born in 1953 in Novi Sad, and that's the biggest city close to Sombor. Many will tell you Novi Sad is a city of Đorđe Balašević. He recorded 14 studio albums, but also appeared in several TV shows as an actor. He has written several novels and also made a movie based on his songs. There we can see him with his wife, Olivera. They starred together in a TV show back in the 80s.
It was his birthday recently, right? That's why we're doing this too.
No, I will explain later. Okay. So he won a number of awards for both his songs and novels. The concerts were a mix of great poetic songs and stand-up comedy, and that's why the tickets for his performances were always hard to get. He was one of the loudest voices against the war and terror that happened in former Yugoslavia, and that is why he was banned for performing on the national TV for a decade. His song Ringispiel, which means carousel, was the first dance song at Nikola's wedding a year and a half ago. Thanks to Mislav's idea and Mr. Kyle Speller, the voice of Denver Nuggets, who was a guest of Nuggets Serbia, that carousel song was already played at the Ball Arena during practice.
Yep.
In 6 days, it will be a year since Đorđe Balašević passed away at the age of 67 after battling with coronavirus. And that was a very, very sad day throughout the former Yugoslavia.
Yeah. It was, I mean, he's one of my favorites too. And also he did, right? He had a lot of, was it Valentine's Day concerts? Was that him? As well?
He usually done the New Year's.
New Year's, yeah, okay. Well, he's one of my favorites too. I have like basically a playlist I do. As one I have for a list of his songs that I do before I sleep. I put him on and put a sleep timer on the phone for turning off the music, and that I fall asleep with him and just listen to him like very often. Like my mom would sing Ringispiel to me like when I was younger. Like I still remember that, and like some other of his songs. So it sucks that we lost that, and it was really cool. Like Mislav did that because of the wedding song. Like when Kyle Speller was on, he gave him a list and then he sent him a link, and eventually we saw when Katie Winge posted like the list of the songs that were on. Like it was all the songs that Mislav gave Kyle Speller, and then another song I think that Luka played in Dallas, so they kind of picked up. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool Serbian fact, and hopefully you check it out. We might put like a link to his channel or something on YouTube for Americans to check out, like what kind of is like obviously on Spotify he's on there too, and so it's pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah. So are we good? Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for watching. There's a question of if Luka is popular in Serbia. Yes, he is. Luka Doncic. So it's quickly. I mean, there's no like wisdom to it. He's really popular, even though he's Slovenian. Doesn't matter. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching on DNVR on YouTube, DNVR Nuggets podcast feed. We'll see you next week. Enjoy basketball, and I guess it's All-Star week next week, so we'll see if we're skipping that weekend or not. But anyway, yeah, thanks everyone, and we can check us out, Miro.
Have a great day. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're watching it for some reason.
Yeah,
Ciao.